Hi, and welcome to the informational video webinar series on the rules for certified school-age childcare centers. This is video number 3 on positions, position qualifications, volunteers, and CBR enrollment. My name is Christina Christian. I work for the Office of Childcare as a regional manager in the Tualatin Field Office. Welcome to the third video in this webinar series on the new school-age certified childcare rule set. We hope that you will find these videos helpful in learning about the new certified school-age childcare rules. In the series of videos, we will share some of the highlights of the changes and new rules in the new school-age center rule set. The rules have been organized differently to help make information easier to find. We will also be explaining some of the key features and how the rules are organized. While we are highlighting many key features, changes, and new rules throughout this video series, the entire rule set will not be reviewed. Please refer to the School Age Center rulebook for the full list of requirements and rules. All right, let's get started. Let's take a look at the positions for a school-age only center. The first thing to note is that they are different from the position titles found in certified centers. The new positions were developed specifically with the needs of a school-age only program in mind. There are 3 positions: a program coordinator, a program leader, and an assistant program leader. Over the next few slides, we will dive a little deeper into each position and their qualifications. First, let's look at a program leader. The person in this role is designated by the program coordinator. They are responsible for the day-to-day operation of the program and the supervision of children in their assigned group. The program coordinator is responsible for the overall management and operation of the center. They can be at one or multiple sites, but there are specifics to know if they are over more than one site. The last position is the assistant program leader. Staff in this role are supporting the role of the program leaders in caring for children. There are requirements for supervising a staff member in this role. A program leader or program coordinator can provide the required supervision. Let's look at the qualifications for the 3 positions. For the program coordinator, the qualifications are: they must be at least 21 years of age, meet the initial and annual training requirements, they must have at least 1 year of experience supervising adults, and they must have verifiable knowledge of child development for school-age children. This can be done either through a combination of professional references, education, experience or training, or by completing the training listed in Table 1 within 90 days of hire. The training in Table 1 is outlined as follows: 20 clock hours of training within the last 5 years focused on school-age childcare that meets the following core knowledge categories: 5 hours in understanding and guiding behavior, 5 hours in learning environments and curriculum, 5 hours in human growth and development, and 5 hours in program management. This slide, you can see an example of one of the support documents that the Office of Childcare has created to help support school-age certified center programs. This is a position qualifications document for the program coordinator position. The document itself is not required, but it is required that you document how your staff qualify for the position. The person in the role of the program coordinator has many responsibilities. Let's review some of them over the next few slides. A program coordinator's responsibilities include maintaining compliance with all school-age center rules and all conditions placed on the license, developing and implementing the center's operational and personnel policies, supervising the personnel, volunteers, and other individuals providing services in the center, overseeing the training and professional development of staff, including setting goals, observation, and mentoring, implementing program development, overseeing parent communication and sharing community resources with families, including resources for children with special needs, managing administrative functions, including but not limited to maintaining records, financial management, budgeting, maintenance of buildings and grounds, meal planning and preparation, and transportation if provided. Designating one program leader at each site who is responsible for maintaining compliance with Office of Child Care rules. There must be one designated program leader on site at all times. They must be at each site at least 2 times a month and for a minimum of 1 hour each visit while children are in care. If the most experienced program leader at the site has been in their position for more than 6 months, the program coordinator must be on site 1 time a month for a minimum of 1 hour. They may serve as the program leader if qualified and if the center is certified for less than 45 children. They must be available by phone at all times during child care hours. Let's take a look at the position of program leader. A staff person in this role must be at least 18 years of age, meet the initial and annual training requirements, and they must meet the experience and training qualifications for the assigned age group by one of the options outlined in Table 2. There are 4 ways to meet the qualifications in Table 2. They are as follows. Option number 1 is to have 60 hours of experience working in the program and completion of 20 clock hours of training completed within the last 5 years, focused on school-age childcare that meets the following core knowledge criteria: 5 clock hours in understanding and guiding behavior, 5 clock hours in learning environments and curriculum, 5 clock hours in human growth and development, and 5 clock hours in program management. Option number 2 is to have at least 240 hours of qualifying experience working with school-age children in the last 5 years in a certified child care center or comparable group care program. Option number 3 is to have at least an AA degree in one of the following areas: early childhood education, child development, elementary education, special education, physical education, recreation, human development, child and family studies, or home economics. And option number 4 is to be at least a step 8 in the Oregon Registry. This slide is an example of another support document that the Office of Child Care has created to help support programs. This is a position qualifications document for the program leader position. Again, this specific document is not required, but it is required that programs document how their staff qualify for their position. The person in the role of a program leader has many responsibilities too. A program leader's responsibilities include the supervision of their assigned group of children at all times, the supervision of any assistant program leaders or volunteers assigned to their group, and maintaining compliance with all school-age center rules and all conditions placed on the license when the program coordinator is not present. A staff person in the assistant program leader position is required to support the program leaders and program coordinators in caring for the children. Additionally, an assistant program leader must be at least 15 years old and be within sight and sound of a staff person who meets the qualifications of a program leader if they are under 18 years, or be within sight or sound of a staff member who meets the qualifications of a program leader if they are 18 years of age or older, and meet the initial training requirements. This slide is an example of the Assistant Program Leader Position Qualifications document. Again, this specific document is not required, but it is required that you document how staff are qualified for their position. Other staff and volunteers. A school-age center may have a substitute and/or a volunteer work in their program. Prior to a substitute and/or a volunteer being left alone with children, a school-age center must verify the following. They must be actively enrolled in the Central Background Registry. They must verify completion of the OCC Introduction to Child Care Health and Safety training, and they must verify completion of a minimum of 2 hours of training on recognizing and reporting child abuse and neglect that is specific to Oregon law within 30 days of employment. In addition, anyone in a substitute role or a volunteer that is in a position that counts in staff-to-child ratios must meet the qualifications for that position. Other staff and volunteers. Volunteers have some additional requirements to note here. They are as follows. Volunteers who do not meet staff requirements must be at least 13 years old and not have unsupervised access to children. Volunteers under the age of 15 years must have written permission from their parent or guardian, and unless in a structured volunteer program, cannot exceed 4 hours per day. Prior to beginning work at the center, volunteers must have identified duties in writing that are shared with the volunteer and the program leader. The Central Background Registry is commonly referred to by the acronym of CBR. The rules around the CBR requirements have not changed. However, let's review them. CBR enrollment means approval for a 5-year period to be in the CBR. To become enrolled in the CBR, individuals must pass an Oregon State Police criminal records check, child abuse and neglect records check, checks of adult protective services and foster care certification, and FBI records. A school-age center must have written confirmation from the Office of Child Care that staff 18 years or older are enrolled or conditionally enrolled in the CBR before they may be on the child care premises or be with children on site during child care hours. Staff is defined as an individual who is an employee or a volunteer who is in the center for more than a single activity. What is the difference between someone with an active enrollment and someone with a conditional enrollment? Let's take a look, as there are some specific requirements of the program with regards to any person that is conditionally enrolled in the CBR. Active enrollment, this means that all parts of the background check have been completed and the individual is approved and enrolled. Conditional enrollment, this means that the preliminary check has processed and the person may now be allowed on site, But until the CBR enrollment is completed and they are approved, the person must be supervised by someone that is actively enrolled in the CBR. Staff conditionally enrolled in the CBR can work in their position, but shall not have unsupervised access to children. Let's talk about an example of what this might look like. This means that you can have a program leader who is conditionally enrolled in the CBR working with an assistant program leader who is actively enrolled in the CBR, as long as the supervision requirements are met for both the assistant program leader and the conditional CBR status of the program leader. If you have any questions, please contact your licensing specialist or reach out to another member of your licensing team. Visitors. Any visitor or other adult who is not enrolled in the CBR shall not have unsupervised access to children. There must be safeguards in place to prevent a visitor's unsupervised access to children, including a sign-in and sign-out process that includes the following: name and relationship to the center, arrival and departure times, and the name or names of the qualified staff responsible for supervising. On this slide, you can see an example of a visitor log. This is another document that the Office of Child Care has created to help support programs in maintaining compliance with the rules. Again, this specific form is not required, but you must be in compliance with all visitor rules, including the documentation requirements of the sign-in and sign-out process for visitors. Thank you for watching this video. You can now move on to video 4 in the series.